Hey everyone, welcome to week 2 of our course. And I just wanted to say at the outset, I'm so grateful for the ways that you all engaged in your introductory posts last week. There's certainly a way that you can just, mail it in or whatever it looks like online, but you engaged thoughtfully and with intention. And I just think this will only add to this co-construction of our learning community. So thank you so much for the ways that you've even started to engage. Um, it looks like a couple of you still have not signed up for your formation group. So I really encourage you to do that as soon as possible. Again, I've sent you a link to that, or you go to the People tab and then to the Formation tab, and you can sign up for a formation group, which will happen weeks 3, 5, 7, and 9. And your formation group leaders will be in touch with you next week with your Zoom um, links and all of that to get started for the week 3. So I am excited for our new content and readings this week. This week we're focused on embodied cognition. So if you're kind of following the track or the course of this course, we first talked about being embodied creatures, that we are not just brains on sticks, that there is this importance to paying attention to our bodies. And thank you for engaging in writing a letter to your body. So we are bodies, and now this week, the second week, we're going to talk about bodies in relationship with other bodies, right? That there is this these dynamic systems that are in place and interacting with one another. There's the notion in embodied cognition that it's not just our minds that affect our bodies, but because we're this unified person, that our bodies actually are affecting our minds as well. Um, so you'll watch some videos this week from Dr. Warren Brown, and he was one of the authors of the readings that you had from last week. He is a phenomenal scholar and a thinker. So I am excited for you to learn more from him. He has this really interesting notion of formation and how it has to do with catastrophe and then responding to catastrophe. So look for that. He talks about conversion, and he talks about complex dynamical systems. There's this dynamic system of people engaged in context, all of which are in constant flux. So look for all of that. It's good stuff. Also, you will see an interview between Dr. Hilary McBride and Cutter Calloway, who I think I mentioned last time. He was one of the original creators of this course. He's a professor at Fuller. And you will finish reading her book as well. It's a really great interview. I think a lot of Dr. McBride's personality and intellect and wit, her spirituality comes out more in this interview. And she does talk a bit more about her own trauma that she has experienced in life and how that led her to be more engaged with her own research and writing. You will also read a chapter from Dr. Ellen Cherry focused on the Psalms. In flourishing, and then you'll look at another article that complements Dr. Brown's videos on complex dynamical systems. This week, we also start our practices. I think you may remember that each week you're assigned a new embodied practice, and we ask you to practice that every day. And this week it is to do with the grounding exercises. If you want to remember a little bit about grounding exercises, McBride talks about it on page 72 and 73 of her book, Wisdom of Your Body. So if you want to look back at that, she talks a bit about kind of the processes of grounding ourselves through these practices. So what you're going to do is you're going to practice this once a day throughout the week and then journal about it. And you will journal by Thursday at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time with and this will be your submission will be into your formation group. So only your formation group and your group leader will be looking at your journal and then reflecting. So what you're doing is you're posting what you've learned from the experience, how it was for you, what came up, what you liked, what you didn't like. This is really, again, it's a complete or incomplete assignment. So it's not graded per se, it's just really you engaging and talking about how that process was for you. And then you will comment on others' posts, and there's instructions for how to comment on other posts on the page. You will, by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. PT. So again, Thursday, you reflect on your own experience through a journal. Sunday, you reflect on others in your formation group. Now, a little bit about how to respond to the posts of others. I think sometimes it's hard for students to know what constitutes a thoughtful reflection in a forum post because it can feel quite artificial, it can feel forced. Um, and that's real. And so what I've done is I've co-created um, this way of thinking about responding to one another, and it's called it's these sentence stems. I like, I wish, and I wonder. So it helps us think about how to engage other people with a curiosity, with an openness, with a desire to engage. It's not about trying to offer suggestions. It's not about trying to fix other people's issues or problems. And as we know, this kind of parallels what it's like to be in the helping profession, that we often have people who truly want us to answer their questions and fix their problems. And oftentimes it's this engagement, this pastoral presence, this unconditional positive regard, the ways that we are holding space with people that can bring transformation. So try to work with it. It may feel a little awkward at first. I'm not I'm not letter of the law in terms of you need to use all three of the sentence stems. You'll find I'm not really strict about much of anything. It's really just kind of some guidelines for you to perhaps you choose one or two. I like and I wonder, but it's more just to give you some rails for how to think about how to respond to each other. Um, so I want to be clear. Excuse me. Excuse me. I want to be clear that there may be points of disagreements that you have either with one another, with me, with the text, and that belongs as well. I think it would be great for you to bring any of that kind of conversation, discussion, disagreement into our Monday times together when we're in our synchronous chats or in your formation group. Or even if you want to email me, if you want to email the TA, we're happy to have those kinds of conversations. But for these commenting on people's journals, let's stay in the I like, I wish, I wonder categories. Um, we're also going to take our first personal assessment this week. We'll have 3 of these throughout the quarter. This one is called the Big Five Personality Traits. It's a pretty well-known personality test assessment that's grounded in empirical research. So it's more proven than perhaps others. Lots of people have differing feelings about Clifton Strengths, Strengths Finders, things like that. So the Big Five, it's kind of a way for us to continue to get to know ourselves, to have handles on language, to be able to talk about not only our own personalities, but how our personalities engage with other personalities in the world. So you'll be able to take that and do some writing connected with that. The last thing I wanted to mention is that we will have our first synchronous optional session. It's our live weekly chat. It's 4 to 5 p.m. On Monday. And if you don't attend, I just ask that you would watch the video afterwards because we will be chatting about the readings, chatting about assignments. Perhaps there's questions about formation groups or just really more work to try and integrate the materials that we're reading, watching, writing about into our lives as we think about our calling and the ways that God is inviting us to step forward into our vocations. So I look forward to meeting some of you on Monday. Please let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to reach out via email, and I hope you have a great week.